Brian's here today to tell us about another great movie that's going on our list of the 100 greatest films of all time, in our opinion at least. And Brian, what's your contribution for the list of the greatest films ever made?
It's a mad, 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 mad world. The funniest comedy I've ever seen. I can remember seeing it the first time in the cinema, and I was still laughing, and everybody was leaving.
Because of your laughing, or
the film had ended.
The
Credits had gone, and I was still sitting there holding my stomach. It was really, really fun. It got me. It just got me.
So what's the story about? What's the premise?
There's a whole gang of different characters looking for this buried cash. Schnozzle Durant, I think, had come out of prison, was charging down the highway to recover this treasure, or this cash, under the big W. Of course, you don't know what that is until the end of the film. But of course, he crashes. So all these characters in these vehicles following, stop. But he comes out, he said, "Did you see him fly? Did you see him fly out there?" And they'll get down to Schnozzle Durant. And he's about to die. And of course, he kicks the bucket in the end, literally.
Yeah, there was a bucket. It scatters down the hill.
And of course, he tells them, that all this money under the big W, tells them where to go. And of course, they wonder what to do then. So there's a chap in a big lorry. There's the Ethel Merman character, which I think she's great because she's so blousy and out there and loud, and that's terrific. Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney, yes, that's right. Sid Caesar.
Sid Caesar's in it, yeah. Dorothy Provine, Dorothy Provine. Terry Thomas. I mean, when he turns up, the typical sort of English. Any actor with an impeccable English accent goes down well in America.
He says he's working on something with the military. It's all hush hush, whoosh whoosh. All about the missiles. So it's good old Terry Thomas. Great value in every film.
And Phil Silvers, of course. He's in it, and he wrecks the garage with these guys, and it's all these different adventures that all these people are going through to reach this point, somewhere in San Diego or something, Southern California. To working out how they're going to share this money out, and of course Spencer Tracy. I mean, the local sort of chief cop is there, just watching all these arguing that's going on because they can't agree, I mean the banter and the slapstick comedy, etc. I just thought was absolutely great.
So, what's your favourite scene in the movie? What was that biggest belly laugh that you had back in the cinema?
Well, I think near the end, where Spencer Tracy, who turned out to be a bit of a bent copper, he's got the money and he thinks he's getting away with it. Well, of course, they realise what's going on. So, of course, they chase him. And he goes into this derelict building and runs up the stairs. So, of course, all these 10 or 11 people are all following him, racing up the stairs, and they're falling over one another. The action was so great, and I just couldn't stop laughing. And it's just these people running up the stairs, falling over one another. It must have been great to shoot.
And then they all end up on the fire escape, don't they?
That's right,
and the fire escape's coming away from the building.
That's it. And of course, they all end up in hospital. And of course, Ethel Merman walks in with all sort of the female cast, and she's about to say something, and she slips up on a banana skin, and so of course goes, right up. And of course, they all laugh, and made me laugh with them. But I mean, there's even when they're wrecking the garage, Phil Silvers and these two guys. I mean, the whole thing collapses.
Yeah.
And then these Sid Caesar and I think Sid Caesar, Dorothy Provine in this basement in this paint it's exploding stuff because they're trying to get out, and it was real slapstick, funny stuff.
Kind of owns a lot of its heritage with the old kind of Harold Lloyd and that kind of early.
That's right.
Hollywood
Buster
comedy.
Keaton, I think he appears. So, the Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges. turn up,
You
don't
just see them. They're firemen, and all it is one shot. You know, the three of them just standing there. Well, they don't have to do nothing, and you just laugh. I mean, I love the Three Stooges and their movies, and all of this in one film. Sidney Lumet. I think he directed it. I think it was Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet was the director. Yeah.
And I just think it's a great comedy film.
So, is there something about that kind of era of comedy? You know, other films around that time that came out. I mean, there was a lot that kind of early sort of 60s. You had some of things like Monte Carlo or Bust with Tony Curtis and other films of that kind of ilk. It's from that stable, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was sort of the slapstick side of it as well as the dialogue. You know, I mean, I like the Ethel Merman character because she's so, full on and loud. Yeah, typical her. I mean, poor thing, she gets shaken upside down because she's dropped the keys to the car. So no one can get away. They tip her upside. Imagine that. You know, it must have been 77 degrees, you know, in this California sunshine, and there's her being tipped upside down and get these keys, and they just dump her on the ground.
Quite right, too. Just as she deserves, too. A film like It's a Mad, Many Mads Worlds. Great film.
5 Mads, I think.
5 go mad.
Yeah.
But it's a terrific production, but, a massive film, about 2.5 hours long.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
an extended version, isn't it?
Well, originally, it was 20 minutes longer than the actual first release. So I did buy a Blu-ray DVD, and you get two
versions.
Two versions, and one is the extended one.
Ah, perfect.
To reinstate it to its proper length, as it was intended. But of course, so much footage has been lost. The only way they could do it was to process from 70mm prints, and some of them were Japanese.
Right.
So, of course, you've got a bit of Japanese writing down the side from, and of course, where they've got no picture left, only the soundtrack, they just put in a still,
right,
while the soundtrack goes on. You can see where the extra bits have been put in because it's different colour. You know, so many generations away from the original neg. And it's the only way they could do it.
But it's good to get something that's as close as possible to that original
real
version.
film buffs will be interested in things like that.
Ah, absolutely.
Because
one of the advantages of DVD these days.
That's right, yeah.
Super. So it's a mad
world, yes.
Mad world.
That's the number one comedy.
Number one comedy.
For me, yeah.
Certainly the number one comedy as far as Brian's concerned. If you agree with Brian on our list of the 100 greatest films ever made, then feel free to leave a comment down below here somewhere. If you don't agree with Brian, I think it should be another comedy, then feel free to leave another comment down below as well. But Brian, thank you very much for joining us on Film Talk and bringing us It's a Mad World.
You're welcome, thank you.